Rev up your engines.
As you can see, on this four-wheel drive system on this Ram, everything has gone electronic. And the same is true for this Toyota Tacoma TRD. It's all electronic. But we'll start out with the Ram to 1500 Hemi 5.7 liter 4x4. We'll start with the simplest. Two-wheel drive. Okay, that means only the rear wheels are driving the vehicle. That one and that one. Let's face it, most of the time highway driving, city driving, you're just going to use the rear wheel drive to get better gas mileage and to wear things out less. Let's say you want to go to four-wheel drive low. What you do then is put your foot on the brake, put it in neutral, then push the button. They have that set up because they don't want you messing around with four-wheel drive low, except in certain circumstances. They advise to use it at speeds of 25 miles an hour or lower. Stuck in mud, snow, whatever. It's not made for highway speeds. It's only made for low. Now, if you want to go to high, again, it's a neutral. We'll push four-wheel drive high. It's getting ready to turn itself. Now it's in four-wheel drive high. Now you can drive this way at highway speeds, but it's recommended that you only use it when there's bad conditions, ice, snow, sleet, because if you do that on dry pavement, you're going to wear out the transfer case and the front wheel drive system and the transmission faster than just running it on two-wheel drive rear. You use it in certain circumstances, but this modern Dodge, it's a 2020, has a button that a lot of people will be using, and that is this one, four-wheel drive automatic. Okay, now this is a compromise system. It's kind of like all-wheel drive, but it's still four-wheel drive. When you're driving normally down a highway or anywhere, in four-wheel drive automatic, doesn't matter if you're going 20, 30, 50, 60, if the computer notices that one of the wheels or both wheels in the back are slipping, it automatically engages the front-wheel drive system to counteract any slipping, so you go straight down the road. And as it says, it's four-wheel drive automatic. Normally it'll be rear-wheel drive, but then it'll switch to four-wheel drive when it starts slipping in the back. So let's say you don't know what to do. Maybe it's starting to snow, or maybe it's a giant rainstorm and you're worried about losing traction on curves. Then you drive it in four-wheel automatic, because then if it started to slip in the rain, it would engage the front. So as you can see, the system gives you a lot of choices, and this particular one has 70,808 miles on it, and it still works perfectly fine. It's held up quite well. Now, I don't know the history of this particular vehicle because the guy's buying this used. What I've seen in these things is the one problem that you can often get in these is that four-wheel drive auto system. It is very complex, and if people use it a lot, the clutch packs inside the transfer case can overheat and wear out and cost a small fortune to repair. And if it does overheat and the clutch packs go, you'll generally get a warning about four-wheel drive system. And unfortunately, when it does go out, it won't just knock out your automatic four-wheel drive. It'll knock out the whole four-wheel drive system. You will no longer have the front wheels working. You'll only get the rear wheels working on it. It'll be a regular rear-wheel drive truck. It is a very complex system, and like most things, you shouldn't be using that four-wheel automatic all the time, because unlike the case of all-wheel drive SUVs, this is a true four-wheel drive vehicle. Personally, I don't think I'd buy a system like that. The four-wheel drive systems are pretty stiff in these things, but that particular addition on it kind of makes them very expensive to repair, and they do break down if you overuse them. Now, as with any four-wheel drive system, the expression use it or lose it comes to fruition. If you do buy one of these things, my advice is use the four-wheel drive function at least 10 minutes every month. It keeps things lubricated, it keeps everything spinning, and if you don't use it, I had a customer with one. He bought it from his brother who never used it, and it was 6 years old. When he went to use it, plunk, stopped working. Then he only had rear-wheel drive. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So, if you're not going to use it, my advice is don't buy it. Get a regular two-wheel drive truck. And of course, the four-wheel drive systems have an advantage over the all-wheel drive systems. If you got a true all-wheel drive system, you get a wrecked tire, you really have to replace all four because of the interaction of them all having to spin the same exact speed with the same amount of tread on it. This is rear-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. You get a blowout in the right rear, you can just change the two rear tires. You get a blowout in the front, you can just change the front tires. Now we'll take this Dodge for a spin, see how the system works. Gotta turn off the stupid parking brake. I hate these electric parking brakes. And we'll start out in four-wheel drive low, so we'll put it in neutral. Push the four-wheel drive low. Now it's in low, we'll back up. No strange noises or anything. I mean, this thing does have 70,000 miles. Realizing we shouldn't drive it more than 25 miles an hour because it's in low. Getting out of mud, stuff like that. Now immediately, of course, you notice the power's different. Pretty quiet. Keeps the RPMs higher. So, hey, that works perfectly fine. So let's switch it over to four-wheel high. Working perfectly fine. You hear a little bit more noise because now you got the transfer case, the front-wheel drive spinning too, and you'll also get worse gas mileage, which is one reason, hey, you only want to use it when you really need it. Why wear it out faster and get worse gas mileage? We'll switch to that interesting four-wheel drive automatic. Now it is. Even tells you down here, that little green thing there. And here we go. We'll get out here, give it a little gas on the straightaway, see how it does. Works perfectly fine. It's a wet road. We're not getting any slippage. It will make a little more noise, like I say, but that's working perfectly fine too. Gotta love the sound of that V8. If you want we're on the fly, you can just take your foot off the gas and you can just push it to normal two-wheel drive. And as we see, it's now shifting to normal two-wheel drive. You don't have to stop the vehicle or anything. And now you're gonna have a lot less wear on the components and you're gonna get a little bit better gas mileage. We'll bring it back now and we'll check out the Toyota four-wheel drive system. So this one's working perfectly well, but you realize it's only a 4-year-old vehicle though too. As time goes on, they will often have problems with the clutch packs and the transfer cases. Some of them will even crack and break on these Dodges. Now I'm going to test out a four-wheel drive system that in my opinion is more indestructible. The Toyota TRD 4x4. In this case it's in a Tacoma. We can see it's also an electronic system. Here it is. Now this Tacoma is a classic four-wheel drive. You can engage it in two-wheel drive, which is normal, or you can put it in four-wheel drive low or four-wheel drive high. And just like the Chrysler, done by just turning the knob. And then this is a lockout, so when you go from four-wheel high to four-wheel low, you push in and turn it. Then you're at four-wheel drive low. Use a four-wheel low only up to 20 miles an hour so you don't wear things out. And the four-wheel high can go at highway speeds, but they advise you don't want to drive it all the time that way. Like let's say you're going through the Sierra Nevada mountains in the winter and it's full of snow. Yeah, you might want to put it on four-wheel drive high if you can drive that fast. I mean, you have to take the road conditions into consideration, right? But if it's slushy, goopy, you might want to try driving 50 miles an hour in four-wheel high. But then when you get off the mountains and it's dry, you go back to two-wheel drive. It doesn't have that crazy four-wheel automatic where it turns it on when it's supposed to. Yeah, more things to go wrong, yeah? Less things to go wrong in the Toyota. It doesn't have that system. The Dodge has four-wheel high, too, so it's a gimmicky thing that if it breaks down, cost you a small fortune. And speaking of breakdowns, I rarely have seen problems with the four-wheel drive systems in Toyotas, especially in these Tacomas. Now, I have to put a little asterisk there because in the past, the transfer cases for these four-wheel drive systems were all made in Japan, right? And now for a while, they've been making them in Mexico. For example, this entire truck, 2023, was made in Mexico. And the transfer case was also made in Mexico. I haven't, as of yet, seen any problems with it, but we'll keep following it up in the future to see if they do have problems. The Rams do have a history of problems with their transfer cases, and these haven't yet. But since they're made in Mexico, I'm going to reserve my judgment on the newer ones until they've been out a few years. Let's start this one up, put it through its paces. We'll start again. Turn that off, push it in, and four-wheel low. You always get a little jumpiness when you turn the wheels real far. I don't want to hit the neighbor's mailbox. You won't feel that if you're a normal drive, but four-wheel low, trying to tell you, you only want to go a certain speed in four-wheel low. Now it's warning you that you're in four-wheel low, so you'll know. And you'll remember, Not a bad idea. No problems. Let's switch it to 4-wheel high. In this case, push it in, turn it to 4-wheel high. Now it's showing and it stops beeping. I kind of like the beep. You're only supposed to be going up to 20, so you should be very cautious. You got slippery conditions, and it's nice that it beeps so you don't take it in too high of a speed. For once, a warning thing kind of makes sense. Now, unlike the Dodge, this thing doesn't really make much more noise even though it's in 4-wheel high. I gotta say, it's definitely a higher quality built 4-wheel drive system. It's much quieter. The more noise you hear, the more wear is occurring. Right? Something's quiet, it's working right. If it starts making noise, the more noise it makes, guess what? It's gonna wear out faster. And of course, since it's in 4-wheel high, it doesn't have the real jerkiness as 4-wheel low. You're only supposed to use the low in slow certain circumstances, and that's what it's for. It's kind of nice that they got a beeper warning you about it. So take it out on a spin, on a little drag strip, and I noticed, yes, much quieter than the Dodge. I would predict this thing's going to last a lot longer than the Dodge is. And we'll come to a stop here. We'll look behind us. We don't care what's in front of us. Nobody's coming, so here we go. Lots of power, no problem, and really infinitely quieter than the Dodge. I would definitely go for the simpler Toyota system than the complex Dodge system for one main reason. If you were using that 4-wheel drive automated system in this too much, you overheat the clutches and the transfer cases, they burn out and it breaks, you lose the entire 4-wheel drive system because the transfer case won't work. The Toyota doesn't have that system, so it can't have that problem. The only time I've ever seen things happen to transfer cases on these Tacomas was because kids abused them, cracked them by hitting rocks, rolling over, going bananas off-road on them. Normal driving, they're pretty much bulletproof. So in this case, of course, simplicity is what you want. Now I do have to say, now that they're making the transfer cases mainly in Mexico and not in Japan like they used to, maybe things will change, I don't know, but I'd still go for the simpler design. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.